This is the minimal peaking program for Gaelic footballers for a championship. You're about to enter the most important 10 weeks of the season. In 10 weeks' time, the club championships will be wrapped up towards the end of September, and you'll either have reached your potential and expressed yourself fully after all the hard work you've been doing all year, or else you will have fallen flat because you'll have missed out on a few basics that you haven't done as well as you wanted to. Now, when it comes to peaking for championship, the less you have to focus on, the less you have to do, the better. So that means you do a few things very, very well. You work extremely hard on a few things, but essentially you still focus on very, very few things. You only do a little. So what you can do is a very, very many number of things. What you need to do is a very, very tiny number of things. And right now, the World Cup has been on the last month or two. The people who are performing the best, the household names, the Haaland, Mo Salah, Messi, Ronaldo, Bellingham, Lamine Yamal, the list goes on. They're not necessarily the footballers with the highest IQ, the most intelligent. Getting in great shape, being excellent at sport isn't necessarily an intelligence test. It's a test of using your skill, using your habits, having very, very good routines, and having the practice done. So this minimal peaking program is to remind you of that. You need to focus on a few very, very basic things that aren't actually that difficult to understand to reach your full potential. And the same goes to the Gaelic Football Championship, which is now reaching the semi-final stage. From Kobe to Clifford, from Conor O'Callaghan, to all these other top players who've had incredible seasons, the breakthrough players in Mayo, Darburn, McGrail, all these players aren't necessarily genius people when it comes to sports science or supplements or hormones or all these fancy things that we kind of get lost in on social media when it comes to strength and conditioning and sports performance. They're ordinary guys with extraordinary genetics, most of them, the guys playing at the top level, whether it's soccer or GAA, they usually are a bit blessed strength-wise or speed-wise, but they do a few basic things very, very well, and that's what allows them to excel. And that's what I've had to remind hundreds of Gaelic footballers over the last 17, 18 years, is to keep it simple. The number one thing holding back most players that I deal with in the online coaching, but also when I was back coaching teams for 10 years, was that they were overcomplicating it, overthinking it, overcomplicating it, overwhelming themselves. And all you need to do is focus on these 5 things that we're going to cover in this video, along with the program that I'm going to outline for you for the next 10 weeks. You do that very, very well and you don't miss training. That's all you need. And then anything outside of that is just to make sure that when you're on the pitch training, you get the most out of yourself. When you're on the pitch on match day, you get the most out of yourself. So what you can do is many things. What you need to do is very, very few things. It's only 5 that we're going to cover in this video and the next few videos that I'm going to guide you through how to get the most out of yourself in the 2026 Club Championship. Now, what you need to focus on now is what actually matters now. So there's only a certain number of things that can actually make any bit of a difference to you at this stage of the season. In the off season, there's probably a few more things you could add in. Early in the season, there's a few more things you could add in that could help you benefit long term. But right now, when we're this close, a month out from your first round of championship, maybe 2 months out from the final or the semi-final, there's only a few things that are actually going to make any difference. So focusing on a whole load of other things that aren't those things that actually matter now is only going to overwhelm and confuse you. We need to remove absolutely everything except what actually matters now. I'm not sure where I initially heard this or if I made it up myself. Sometimes I think I make up things, but I actually realized then a while later that I actually saw that in a book or a documentary. But whether I made it up or whether I found it in a book or a documentary, clarity brings confidence. I'm saying this for over 10 years. I'm saying this since I was coaching underage teams. Clarity brings confidence. The clearer you are on the job that you have to do, whether that's tactically on match day or in your preparation, the clearer you are on your job, the more confident you're going to be of carrying that out. And I've seen that over and over again. Players who weren't necessarily that gifted, but they were so clear and so well versed in practice and what they needed to do on match day, and they were just absolutely excellent in the big games. And then the flip side of that, Players who had enormous potential, but they get completely lost in games. They're overcomplicating it. They're trying to think of doing too many things at once, and they end up doing nothing to a high standard. So clarity brings confidence. Complexity or overcomplicating things lowers confidence. That's universal. That's for all of us. That's in work. That's in sport. It's in life in general. The clearer you are on how simple your job is, simple but hard work obviously, the more confident you're going to be. The more you make it complicated, the less you're going to carry it out. And in your preparation, we're going to simplify what exactly you need to do. And that's going to leave you confidence that if you work hard on those few basic things, they're going to make a big difference for you on match day. And a weekly schedule that I would recommend for the next 10 weeks, and you might have to just tweak the days a little bit, but it's no big deal. This is what I'm doing with Gaelic footballers for, again, 16, 17 years now. The weekly schedule that I really like is Monday, lower body. Lower body as early in the week as possible, maybe even a Sunday. Lower body if your game is on the Saturday. Then on Tuesday, training on the pitch. Usually for most clubs, it's training on the pitch on Tuesday, Friday, and then game on Sunday. Or you might have Tuesday, Thursday, and game on Saturday. Similar, but you can just tweak the days. Wednesday, upper body. Thursday, rest. Friday, training. Saturday, upper body. And then game on Sundays. So you have 3 days on the pitch, 2 training sessions and a match. And you have 3 days in the gym. 2 upper bodies and a lower body. Now remember, these sessions in the gym, I've been saying this for years, often you're just trying to replace the daily activity that our fathers and grandfathers used to do, but that we've somehow lost. They were so much more active. They did so much more demanding jobs. Whether they lived on a farm or whether they didn't, a lot of them had naturally powerful builds just because life was so much more physical and there was so much more manual labor 50, 100 years ago in Ireland. And not even that long. In the early 90s, things were just so much harder. They never had to worry about too much screen time. They never had to worry about getting a 10,000 or 8,000 step count. They didn't have to worry about it whatsoever. So these gym sessions, don't be looking at them as something advanced athletes do, or it's going to make you an elite athlete compared to the Gaelic footballers of 10 or 20 years ago. Many of the Gaelic footballers of today are in way worse shape than the footballers of 20 or 30 years ago. Sure, the elite guys are well ahead of the elite guys of the past, but most club footballers do not fall into that bracket. So these 30, 40, 50, maximum 60-minute gym sessions you're doing 3 times a week to complement your pitch sessions, often they're just making up for the daily activity and the physical work that we've lost as society in Ireland has developed, if you want to use that word. So to do as little as possible, but for the absolute best chance of you peaking in the most important games of the year, the number one most important thing you need to do is don't miss training or matches. There are plenty of fellas who will play absolutely excellent in the championship this year who don't go to the gym. They might not go to the gym at all, or they might not go in season, but they never miss training, they never miss matches, they're always available, and they just play really well. So the number one thing you need to do is don't miss your training sessions or matches, and anything you do for the rest of these 5 most important things for peaking is just to make sure that you don't miss training or matches. That's the best way to look at it. The second most important thing you need to do to reach your peak in training sessions and matches is 3 gym sessions per week. Now you can get away with 2 full bodies or 1 upper and 1 lower, but I recommend to nearly all my clients to get 2 uppers and 1 lower done in season, as little time and equipment used as possible. So you take out your heavy lifts, you use as little equipment as possible. I love GA gyms. A lot of the guys I train are working out at home gyms. You don't need much equipment to get really good workouts done for your upper body or for your lower body. So as little time as possible, as little equipment as possible, but 3 good solid gym sessions a week, preferably 2 uppers and 1 lower, and that'll have you in prime condition for a match day as long as you're recovering properly. Which takes us to recovery, which is number 3 and number 4, and maybe even number 5 you can consider recovery as well. So if you're going to train hard, you need to recover hard, and people overcomplicate recovery massively. 80-90% of recovery is simply sleep and food. It's not supplements, it's not ice baths, it's not all these other crazy popular techniques that people spend a lot of time and money investing in. 80 or 90% of your recovery is going to be determined by 3 and 4, which is food and sleep. And your food and sleep is going to have the biggest impact by an absolute mile on your ability to perform well on the pitch or in the gym. So for number 3, consistent nutrition. Now, what do I mean by consistent nutrition? I mean focusing on getting your calories and your macros consistent. That is the most important thing. Get your calories and macros consistent. So many players avoid this. Then they start up with me, they get very, very lean very quickly, and they don't really change much of their diet at all. They just change the amounts of foods, tweak the calories, tweak the macros, eat the exact same foods and get way, way leaner and stronger. So consistent calories and macros. And then number 3, after your consistent calories and macros, is a whole foods focus. You're focusing on as much fruits, vegetables, meats, eggs, fish, and nuts as possible. Whole foods diet as much as possible. 80-90% of your weekly calories from whole foods. That's going to leave you feeling very energetic, good digestion, good skin, good mood. Your ability to focus on match days and training sessions, your ability to recover, focus on whole foods, consistent calories. It'll make an enormous difference very, very quickly. A lot of my clients are extremely happy with their progress in speed, flexibility, energy levels, fitness, sleep, everything within 4, 5, 6 weeks. So if you do this for the next month and you're already in pretty good shape, you'll notice a big difference by the time the first round of championship even comes around. Number 4 is 8 hours quality sleep. This is absolutely huge. This is going to make so much of a bigger difference to how you perform on match day than any supplement you can take or any recovery technique that gets a lot of attention these days, whether it's compression boots or ice baths or whatever else. Just focus on getting 8 hours fullness in the room. If you go to bed, you wake up at 7 o'clock, you have to be up at 7 o'clock, that's when the alarm goes off. Then from 11, the phone is outside of the room and you're inside the room in bed. And that is the number 1 thing I get my clients to focus on in the beginning when it comes to sleep. No phone in the room, work backwards from whatever time you have to be up at. If you're up at 6, you work backwards 8 hours, 10 o'clock in bed, 8 hours no phone. It really is that simple. The clients that I train cannot believe the enormous difference that makes and how quickly that makes them feel far better. Studies coming out all the time on sleep. Players seem to love to ignore them and skip to more complicated stuff like supplements and magnesium and melatonin and all this. It's not going to make any fucking difference. Taking magnesium tablets is going to make 0 difference to your sleep if the phone is in your room and you're looking at bright lights during the night. There's endless amounts of research that go into that. Also, there's studies coming out all the time about injury prevention, and sleep is playing an enormous role. I'm not sure is it a bigger role than nutrition, but literally every study has shown that sleep has an enormous impact on how often you get injured and your recovery from those injuries. So remove the phone from the room, and for gold standard sleep, no phone an hour before bed or an hour after you wake up. So you can use it for the alarm, but still don't use it for the first hour. Give yourself that screenless time every day, lower your stress levels, lower your anxiety, be far more calm, be more focused. 8 hours phoneless, focus on your sleep every single night. But the 2 hours, the 1 hour either side in the morning and the night, that's very difficult. I struggle with that one myself. And finally, number 5, stretching and mobility. You need a few basic stretches. 5-10 minutes a day of stretching and mobility will make a huge difference to how your body feels, your lower back, your hips, your ankles, your shoulders, how they'll feel in the gym and on match day. Now there is loads of flexibility in the gym programs I'm going to be doing with you. So if you just do them properly with a full range of motion, or even if you're tight at the beginning, you're aiming to increase the range of motion, that's going to make you far more flexible. But a few minutes stretching, calm down the central nervous system. I feel in a very meditative state when I'm cooking, when I'm stretching, and when I'm reading. So I try and add those things every day where I don't have the phone, and I do those 3 things. So stretching, think of it like meditation, has been shown countless amounts of times to be very, very beneficial for athletes of all kinds. And finally, the bonus tips. So the bonus tips is extra skills work and extra analysis. Study your game, have a PhD in your sport. Like a lot of the top coaches say, really study what your role is in the team. Constantly ask your coaches what your role is and how to get better at that role, and make sure you get extra skills work. There's a lot of guys doing extra runs, extra plyometrics. I'll talk about them again, but I don't really recommend them. I think Kobe or Clifford or Conor O'Callaghan, why are they so excellent at jumping and springing? Good genetics, and they don't miss training. So they always do their skills work in a plyometric way, in an explosive way, trying to jump to catch a ball in a warm-up or whatever. That's far more important for me than doing extra plyometrics without the ball. So extra skills work, focus on that, whether it's catching, kicking, shooting. I'd way prefer you go to the pitch with the goalkeeper and spring off the ground to catch a ball than doing any extra plyometrics work on your own, and that's for all times of the year. And then also extra runs, just make training and train harder. Just push way harder in training, push harder in the tackling drills, push harder in the matches. If you have a GPS, make sure you are absolutely testing yourself to your limit on those 3 pitch days. Push really hard. So the 5 most important things in the minimal peaking program, no matter who you are, these won't add much time to your preparation every week as a Gaelic footballer, because you're already eating. You just need to do it better. You're already sleeping. You just need to do it better. Maybe you're not stretching at all. Most players aren't, but we're only going to add in 5-10 minutes a day there. Your 3 gym sessions. Most of the guys who watch this channel are doing some gym work already. Most of the guys who contact me for coaching are doing gym work already. And these 3 gym sessions are going to be maybe 40 to 60 minutes max, but preferably 35-45 minutes for all of the guys I train. And then of course, don't miss training. You should already be on the pitch 3 times a week anyway. If you follow this for the next couple of months, I'm going to be giving away the exact information I use with my players and the players I've coached for the last 15-16 years to make sure they feel mentally and physically their best for the most important games of the year. I'm going to tell you exactly what I do with all of them. The great news is it's very simple, but you still need to be disciplined to carry it out properly, and you still need to work extremely hard. Let's go.